Galesburg woman is sentenced to 65 years in prison after being convicted of murder earlier this year.
Maquesha Ramey was found guilty on 3 charges of first-degree murder after shooting a woman outside her ex-boyfriend's house. And today, News 8 Shelby Kluver was in the courtroom for that emotional sentencing. It's new tonight on News 8 at 5.
On Wednesday, for the first time, Maquesha Ramey admitted to the court that she pulled the trigger and killed Rachel Lykes last January. Now, she'll be in prison until she's nearly 90. Ramey was sentenced to 35 years for murder and 30 more for the illegal possession of a gun. The judge ordered her to serve 100% of those 65 years behind bars. Last January, Ramey, with a wig and a gun, drove to her ex-boyfriend's house in Galesburg. There, she found Rachel Lykes parked outside. Ramey herself admits she then took out the gun and fatally shot Lykes several times. Lykes' young son also in the car, but was unhurt. Outside the courtroom, it was an emotional scene, with the Lykes family and friends hugging and crying. During sentencing, Ramey asked the Lykes family for forgiveness, saying there was no excuse for her actions. The family agreeing.
She's greatly missed, and it doesn't make any difference how much time they give her. It isn't going to change. And the fact that she's gone, I can't change it. I wish I could. I'd saw off my own arm to change it, but I can't.
The judge handed down a sentence that we think that for all intents and purposes, Maquesha Ramey will not be breathing fresh air outside of a prison during her natural life.
Rachel's sister told the court through prosecutors that no spoken words exist that could describe the family's pain, adding that Rachel was a loving and giving mother, friend, and aunt, as well as a beautiful soul. In Galesburg, Shelby Kluver, WQAD News 8.
Ramey's attorneys asked for a new trial in court this afternoon, but the judge denied that request.
January 4, 2021, it was a somber courtroom scene at the Knox County Courthouse. 27-year-old Maquesha Ramey was sentenced to 65 years in prison for the first-degree murder of Rachel Lykes. The aftermath of the crime scene extended beyond the immediate tragedy, revealing a web of deception and escape. Ramey, with a wig concealing her identity, fled the scene, leaving behind a wrecked gray-black Chevrolet Malibu near the 500 block of McClure Street. Galesburg's serenity shattered with the jarring sound of gunshots from Maquesha Ramey's gun reverberating through the quiet neighborhood. Michael Hubbard's senses heightened when he heard the chilling echoes. The haunting glow of tail lights from a dark sedan swiftly retreated into the distance. Approaching Rachel Lykes' car parked outside his residence, he discovered her lifeless body behind the wheel. He was bearing witness to an unfathomable tragedy. Rachel Lykes, Hubbard's girlfriend, lay shot, a victim of an inexplicable act of violence that would send shockwaves throughout the community. In a shocking admission during sentencing, Ramey revealed that she had pulled the trigger, striking the car 9 times, with 3 bullets fatally hitting Lykes. The haunting image of Lykes instinctively shielding her face added a layer of tragedy to the already complex narrative. The emergency room at Galesburg Cottage Hospital became the somber stage where Rachel Lykes was pronounced dead at 5:28 p.m. on that fateful day. The details of the crime began to unfold as the trial of Maquesha Ramey commenced, the accused facing 3 counts of first-degree murder before Circuit Judge Richard H. Gambrell. Ramey, who had violated her parole by returning from a trip with a gun, drove to her ex-boyfriend's house in Galesburg on that fateful night. Armed with a disguise, including a wig, hoodie, and mask, she approached Lykes, who was sitting in her parked car with her young son. State's Attorney Jeremy S. Carlin set the tone for a grave legal battle, expressing the intention to seek natural life. Lykes' son was in the back seat of her car at the time of the shooting and witnessed the murder. To kill a child's parent in front of them is a terrible, cold-hearted crime, and perhaps it played a factor in Ramey being given the lengthy sentence of 65 years in prison. That's over 6 decades behind bars. The courtroom was filled with the grief-stricken faces of Lykes' family and friends, their audible cries permeating the air. In the courtroom, it was revealed that Ramey shot at Lykes' car 9 times, hitting Lykes 3 of those times, 1 bullet causing a fatal wound to her head. Ramey had orchestrated a plan to murder Lykes and carried it out with deadly efficiency. She had even took a picture of herself with the gun and in the disguise. Ramey would not admit to being the shooter until she was in court for her testimony. In the testimony, Maquesha said, "Rachel, I know you aren't here and it's my fault. I held a gun to you and pulled the trigger and I can't take that back, and for that I'm truly sorry." Addressing Lake's family, "I hope maybe, just maybe one day you will find forgiveness in your heart. I'm taking full responsibility for my actions. What I did was wrong." The courtroom drama unfolded further as defense attorney Daniel O'Brien endeavored to counter the prosecution's damning narrative. Ramey's great-aunt and great-uncle took the stand, painting a contrasting picture of a seemingly benevolent soul. Both relatives attested to Ramey's generosity and caretaking tendencies, vehemently denying any prior signs of violent behavior. Her great-aunt and great-uncle, wielding tales of a tumultuous upbringing within the foster system, painted a picture of Ramey as a resilient soul marred by abuse yet endowed with a compassionate heart that reached out to those in need. The emotional saga continued as Lake's sister, unable to address the court directly, through a poignant letter read aloud by prosecutors. "I started last year with my sister being violently taken from me," the statement began, conveying the indescribable pain that permeated her existence. Rachel, a pillar in the lives of many, was eulogized as a loving sister, mother, daughter, aunt, and friend. A generous spirit with a beautiful soul. The letter lamented the profound loss and shattered lives left in the wake of that fateful day. In a surreal moment of repentance, Ramey rose to speak, at times locking eyes with the grieving Lake's family. "I took a life," she admitted, unflinchingly acknowledging the gravity of her actions. With a raw honesty, she expressed remorse for holding the gun and pulling the trigger, extending apologies to Rachel, her son, and the bereaved family. "I'm standing here, taking full responsibility for my actions," Ramey declared, seeking a glimmer of forgiveness. As the courtroom absorbed the weight of these testimonies, Judge Gambrill confronted Ramey, questioning the motives behind the fatal act. A poignant reminder echoed in his words, the missed opportunities, the stolen potential for growth, not just for Lake's and her child, but for Ramey and her own children. An air of regret enveloped the proceedings, as Judge Gambrill expressed sorrow for the entire tragic situation. In the somber moments of sentencing, Ramey sat in silent contemplation, her gaze fixed ahead, a stoic figure grappling with the consequences of her irrevocable actions. The courtroom bore witness to a tapestry of human frailty, woven with threads of remorse, sorrow, and the irreversible toll of a life cut short.